Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Aris and Calvin, for holding this workshop platform. One of the questions that I had was that for those of us who don't have the experience, do any of the brands hire, say, sales or product agents so that a person can maybe get the experience and better insight into into possibly breaking out later on into becoming a distributor?
So I'm trying to make sure I understand the first part. So they will hire someone like it's in between. Is that what you're saying? Like they will train you to get the knowledge and eventually they say, okay, you're ready, let's go and do it.
It could be that, or even if they just have the option for a person to get hired as a sales agent or a product agent that's a representative of their brand.
Okay. So yeah, it's a good question. So from I mean, I don't know all the scenarios, but I'll tell you about this, the ones that I know. So uh, there are multiple ways to get into distributionship or licensing, and there are a few ways. Like some companies, they're okay with what they're currently doing. They don't need to like move completely into like an unproven market because it takes money. It requires a lot of resources for them to do it. So they, in that case, what they're looking at is if there's a distributors, so it's not them particularly. So Duracell is actually not moving a branch like they would do in South Africa, for example, because it's a known market. It's better. They'll say, okay, does this guy know what he does, and can we trust him? That's additional income for us. And I'm pretty sure we're not taking too much risk. And we're just selling to him and he's selling back or whatever. It's just a reordering. They're supporting me with marketing and and multiple other things like coaching and materials, but they want to make sure that you are sound, like all these. So that's one scenario. The second scenario is you actually maybe buy the license with everything that you have. You carry the brand name as instead of being Aftertrade, then you carry the name Duracell. So in Duracell, they have more stake in it because they know uh, the brand name is at stake. Whatever you do back there is at stake. So you buy like it's a more costly fee. So you pay probably a lot more, and they put a lot more eye into what you're doing, and you do reporting. You have to tell them what you sold. They want to know how much you're selling your stuff. They want to know, okay, what did you sell this month? How much inventory you're carrying? Who did you sell it to? They come back to you and say, okay, how much did you sell to Carrefour this month? They want to know, okay, they want to help you. They're into your business. They know, okay, you're making 30% profit margin. Maybe you don't want them to know that. They say, okay, this is how much this guy is making. We're going to take out this much for overall marketing for the brand. So there's that case. And there might be lesser brand, right? They're not the Duracell, the L'Oreal type. They're willing to take risk because it's like you have McDonald's, you have Burger King, or Wendy's. McDonald's is not taking risk. It's too much money. Burger King is taking half the risk. Maybe Wendy's is taking more risk. Your best shot is with Wendy's. They say, hey, you know what? Maybe the emerging market is our thing. We're going to let this big dog play here, and we're going to go emerging market. This guy sounds like a good guy, and he doesn't know much. We can help him with a salesperson, and he has a strong case about what that market is. We don't want to fight market share with McDonald's here, but we're going to go to Africa, where all the data are showing that, like there are a lot of better investment in Africa now than in developed markets. So those are your options.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Okay. Hi, my name is Isabel Nana. I'm also from Burkina Faso. The question I have is regarding market study. So if you want to do some type of business in Africa, how do you go about market study? Starting that market study from being abroad. And if you travel to Africa, what are your um, resources? What could be your resources for doing market study on the ground to dig deeper?
Okay, that's great. In reality, there is no half-half. So if you have a good business, right, like you really feel about your whatever initiative that you're going to do, just like you just logged in here, you really have to do it yourself. Like you have to make sure you go get the information yourself, because not based on my experience, I don't trust a lot of things that people say, and it's probably better to actually go and see for yourself. And once you get to Africa, then you start asking questions. You start, because you don't start from scratch, right? You say, I'm interested in getting data, and just pick anything. What would you be interested in getting data from? Like if you were to do a market analysis, what would that be?
Let's take the educational sector, right? So there are a lot of opportunities in terms of tech, and I know a lot of people that may be interested into getting that field and providing great services in terms of education or training. So how do you go about figuring out where the market is, like where it will work, where people would be interested, and how to price it, etc.
Exactly. Great. So luckily today, there are a lot more things out there than before. I remember a few years back, you were asking for something, even Googling something on the internet, it came blank. But nowadays, because of this strong interest in Africa, a lot of people are already doing those things for you in certain space, like the tech industry. You will look at blogs, you will look at just Googling things in the particular sectors. They have a lot of, go to Twitter, there are people that you can follow that have that experience. They talk a lot about the tech space in Africa, and you could get a good feel for it. Even in the education sector, you can attend a lot of like uh, workshop like this, or you pretty much go to webinar or to those things that schools they do. You have experts that speak about education, the space of education, but not all the countries are at the same level. So where we are in Cameroon is probably not the same where people are in Nigeria. The things that they're using in Nigeria may not be the same thing they use in Ghana. So you have to go the market that you want to be in. You have to go see what they're actually doing currently. Rural area, you want to go maybe educate people in the rural area, rural sector that they don't have electricity, they don't have things. What is the solution for a rural area? Is anybody doing anything for in the rural area? What's out there already in Africa that either could be mimicked or that you could bring addition to? You want to go to like hip things. Do people really need to be in class? Okay, what can we do to make their life easier? Gamification. Are you into game? Like, do you want to make school like a game that people, it would be a change of scenery? What are those things that you would like to invest in? You have to go see for yourself. What are people doing right now before you can define a solution for them, right? But there are a few things. There are a few people that you can follow. They are, but eventually you're going to go out there and hunt for yourself to see, get with the educational school system and see the gap that's lacking between what's being offered and what you could potentially bring, and how uh, how will you be able to deploy it? Execution is key, because it's one thing to think about it, but how are you going to deploy it? Maybe the bandwidth on the internet is not appropriate yet. You have to make sure you test all that.
Okay, thank
Great,
you.
thank you.
Thanks for that. Okay, we're gonna wrap it up. So I extended it. We already extended by 20 minutes already. A couple of things. First and foremost, thanks to Calvin for spending the time. But more importantly, thanks for every single one of y'all for coming on onto this workshop. You go ahead, since you have the mic. Where can people follow you? What you're doing? Maybe reach out to you directly. You know, whatever closing note you have, because I know you wanted to provide value, but let's just make sure there's an opportunity for you to whatever tips, advice, whatever you want.
Great. So first and foremost, I would like to thank you for doing this, and eventually everybody else that showed up. And I think it's really important for us, African in the diaspora, to somehow participate professionally in the development of the continent by taking advantage of the opportunities out there. I mean, those are opportunities. That's what they are. they're not like a guaranteed outcome. So you have to get a skin in the game. And because it's a passion of mine, yours, Aris, and Armel, who writes a lot about it, we always exchange about those things. I think the things that I failed with either in 2007 or what I'm struggling with right now, I really want to share with people. And you and I often talk about this. That's why I'm also having a podcast. It's pretty much podcast, not a workshop, where which will be launching in the next 10 days. You guys feel free to sign up. Aris will send all the details, follow-up email, and where I have like-minded individuals who they've made the jump, like myself, or they're even in abroad, but somehow doing business in Africa, investing. So anybody can. It's more, like I said, it's more of a podcast. They can listen to the real deal. Like it's not going to be cases. This is way too in depth, and as you can tell, we cannot go that long. So at least you will see what they're doing. Someone in education, they'll speak about it, and you can anticipate those challenges. So thanks again. I'm very happy. Do what you like, and like go to Africa if that's what you want, or do whatever you like. If you fail, always go back to whatever you were doing before.
Okay. Next week we're going to have somebody in the fashion space, so that's going to be really, really dope. She basically helped build African brands and stuff like that. So I'm going to share the details. Serge, any closing notes, my man? Here's my quiet partner on this. Anything you want to say to wrap this up? I know you'd be mad at me for going over time, but
yeah, I don't know if you guys hear me. Do you guys hear me?
Yes.
All right, terrific. Again, just a bunch of thanks. And to what you said earlier, we'll be doing this weekly going on. One thing that didn't come up that I really want to bring up, because one of the speakers that we'll have in about 3 weeks brought it up to me yesterday. And it was like, Serge, look, we are here, Africans in diaspora, right, in comfortable beds, air conditioning, heaters, and all that good stuff, all that good life. While in Africa, Syrians, Indians, Lebanese, Chinese are taking over. People are taking over the continent. And if we don't reappropriate what our continent has to offer, before we know it, you'll go back home and you'll be paying rent and whatever other duties to people who are not from the continent. So our mission here is really to build as much bridge that we can, having people like Calvin's on, right, to show us the way so that we could duplicate the entrepreneurial activities that you're doing by 10-fold, 100-fold, 1,000-fold. And to some degree, whether you like it or not, we're fighting to take the continent back. And that's what I wanted to add. Aris, I know you have much better prepared notes, closing notes, so I'll let you.
No, man, I'm good. The one last thing I want to do is just maybe a round of applause for everyone who showed up on here. Thanks very much for this. This was good. And yeah, notes. I'm going to reach out to you all for feedback. It didn't go as smooth as I wanted it to, but hey, baby steps, man. Nothing happens overnight. We had great ideas, but we'll get to it eventually. Thank y'all, and have a good weekend. Stay safe.